So if I can ask our first panel to join us on the stage here. We've got Can Genetics Research Improve Native Health? I'm going to go ahead and introduce our moderator, who will introduce our panelists. But I believe we should have Francine Gachpin, Dr. Jeff Henderson, Dr. Francine, apologies, and Ms. Terry Powell. You can join us on the stage. So I'm very excited to introduce a good friend, Dr. David Wilson. He is Diné and serves as Director of American Indian Affairs and Policy for SACNAS, Society for the Advancement of Hispanic and Chicanos and Native Americans in Science, here in Washington, D.C. He earned his PhD in molecular immunology from Arizona State University. Go Sun Devils. Almost said Wildcats, Previously, he served as a senior research scientist at the National Institutes of Health, where he participated in SACNAS's Summer Leadership Institute in 2010, which profoundly impacted his life and career, prompting him to join SACNAS. Dr. Wilson continues to create opportunities and programs to diversify the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that will lead to a stronger and more economically viable nation. Dr. Wilson.
Thank you very much, Malia. Well, good morning, everybody. I know it's warm outside and we're in a dark room, but I like to bring lots of energy to this conversation. So good morning, everybody. All right, that's what I like to hear. Well, we're going to begin a wonderful round of conversations regarding genetic research. And I'm going to give a few slides here as introduction. Let's see, where did the... Oh, I knew this might happen. Where's our IT guy? Oh, there it is. There it is. It was just the banner popped up. There we go. So this is a great panel that's going to be with Dr. Francine Gachpin, Jeff Henderson, and Terry Powell. And first of all, I want to thank the organizers, National Congress of American Indians, the NIH, and the Smithsonian. And I wanted to begin this conversation by kind of framing the situation that is there really a need for genetic testing? And I wanted to bring out three really important factors that are involved in disease research, and some of the diseases that are greatly impacting our Native communities today. So cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, and there's a multitude more of these. But today I'm just going to focus on one specific example in the respect for time. So cancer. So some of the things here, we got some data that's from the Human and Health Services, the Office of Minority Health. And what I'd like to point out here are some of the highlighted text here that you see here, that Native American men are twice as likely to have liver cancer. Native men have 1.6 times as likely to have stomach cancer. Native women are 2.6 times more likely to die from liver cancer. Native American women are 40% more likely to have kidney, renal, pelvis cancer. But overall, Native Americans tend to have lower cancer rates than the general population, but still, there are disparities that exist. And these numbers are a national picture. And there's also differences within regionals or locations. So here you can see that this is NCI data that was from the state of Washington, where you can see that over a 4-year period, there are certain cancers that decreased in their mortality rates, but there are also specific cancers here that are kidney, breast cancer, and prostate cancer that actually increased. So there are areas where we need to begin looking at the diseases that are impacting our communities. So what I want to talk about is getting down into the weeds and talking a little bit more about the science. The molecular science and the genetics behind it. And I wanted to use one very well-known example. And this example involves the breast cancer genes 1 and 2. So these genes were discovered in the early 1990s. And, I did something here. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Okay. And the researchers discovered the genetic code that codes for these two specific genes. And here you can see here's the DNA sequence and the exons and the introns that form these genes. And when these genes are transcribed and translated, they give rise or they yield proteins. And these proteins are in the form of the gene products, BRCA1 and BRCA2, BRCA1, BRCA2. And the specific gene, the nucleotide sequences, in the order in which they're placed along this segment, they dictate what amino acids are going to be placed in this protein, making up the entire length of the protein. Depending upon the specific amino acid composition, these peptides can form specific motifs or domains or structures. And these are ring domains, which are binding domains. There's a nuclear localization signal. So through genetic researching, they were able to compare individuals with disease and healthy individuals. And they were able to determine that there are actually specific changes in this DNA sequence here that actually impacted the proteins that were being produced by these genes. So these gene products were somehow altered. Well, what does that actually do? If you alter one of these amino acid sequences, you have the potential to actually disrupt the folding pattern so that it's no longer able to carry out its function. If you have a mutation within this nuclear localization signal, this is a DNA repair protein, and if it's not able to get into the nucleus, it won't be able to carry out its function. Well, these were really great findings, and I wanted to show you exactly how this was put together. So through more molecular research, researchers were able to really begin to understand that these two gene products played tremendous or huge roles in DNA repair. So here you can see the BRCA1 provides as a scaffolding complex protein that serves as a genomic surveillance complex that is able to readily identify and helps repair broken DNA. So if this complex is not around for any reason, particularly because of site-specific point mutations, then you're not able to repair your DNA, and these lesions go unrepaired, and they have the propensity to cause genomic translocations. So this piece of DNA may end up where it's not supposed to be, which would lead to uncontrolled cell growth, which is the definition of cancer. So this is one of the really important things. So this is the genetic research that comes out of these really great findings. But what does that mean in terms of our communities? Well, here you can see that from the genetic research data, we get to see how this could really impact our communities. That if you are diagnosed with these mutations, that on the high end, there's an 80% chance that a person will develop breast cancer. And there's a 40% chance for ovarian cancer, 10% male breast cancer, 39% prostate cancer, 7% pancreatic cancer. These are very significant numbers. And so research could potentially have a really positive effect, but I'm going to leave that decision up to everybody in the audience to make that decision. So going back to the title of our session, can genetic research improve native health? And I brought up three of the big diseases that are currently impacting our native communities. And if this can be done, can this be done while respecting our cultures, traditions, and beliefs?